Welcome to CivilNet. My guest today is Matthew Eussen, who is the chief of the political and economic section at the U.S. Embassy in Armenia. Welcome, Matthew.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Let's start with Armenia's recent transition to a new government. Did the U.S. Embassy see this coming?
No, I think we have to be fair and honest and say we didn't. I think it took a lot of people by surprise. A lot of the elements that led to the change in government, the revolution, were present. But it was really what was going to be the catalyst, what was going to bring the people kind of synthesize all of these issues that have been running for years and really lead to a change. And that's what was really different. And I think the tactics that were used during the revolution, that was a difference, that was a change. And certainly very effective in terms of the outcome.
And does this type of abrupt social and political change make for greater support for civil society from the U.S. government, or does it hold you back for any reason, make you more cautious?
From the U.S. government side, it doesn't make us more cautious. But it is a difficult role when you see these kinds of transitions. And we've seen a number of them over the last 10 plus years. Because civil society is now widely represented in government. And you don't want them to lose their watchdog role, holding the government accountable, holding up problems. And at the same time, you want to see a constructive dialogue. And I think we've seen that certainly with the change in the last few months. But these are still early days, and so we'll have to see as the government transitions, as it brings in its program, as well as it moves to early elections. So at least from the U.S. government side, it's very encouraging to see the civil society space, which has always been fairly good in Armenia, but even get better in the last couple of months. And hopefully that trend continues.
And as an economist, how would you assess Prime Minister Pashinyan's anti-corruption campaign?
It's a welcome change. He's demonstrated political will, which has really been, I think, the issue for tackling corruption in Armenia. Armenia has had good laws. Armenia has had, obviously, very capable law enforcement agencies. It was a matter of really carrying through on that mandate, and we're seeing that. The near term, we're probably not going to see a huge influx of investment. But as these anti-corruption drives, this desire to level the playing field and improve the overall investment environment, we'll see that probably play out in the medium to longer term. Investors are going to want to see this kind of play out. A couple of months is not enough time. So hopefully this will all be to Armenia's benefit in a year, 2 years down the road. But at the same time, we don't see evidence of this yet. But there's always a concern that anti-corruption drives can be used as retribution against the previous regime. So I think the Prime Minister has set out a good standard, run this through the rule of law, treat this equally, evidence-based approach. And that's a great approach to have, especially when you're in a transition period.
And continuing on the economy, where would you say we should be pointing at when we look at the country's economy as it tries to open up now? If you were working for Armenia's government, where would you start?
Well, I think Armenia's got a lot of opportunities. We actually work on something looking for opportunities for U.S. businesses, and we've identified a number of sectors that we think are good opportunities. That's in the tourism sector, it's in agriculture, it's in information technology, it's in energy, and it's in mining. And these sectors really have the opportunity to grow in Armenia. There are additional sectors where Armenia could have a real advantage, especially for companies that are looking to break into the Eurasian Economic Union. Armenia is a fairly good and easy place to work, and it has figured out some of the ways to get into, say, the Russian market, which is a target for some U.S. companies. So as the Armenian government is looking and shaping its economic trade and investment, these are some areas to look at. I look forward to the day when I can actually go in and find some of my favorite Armenian wines in a U.S. market. It's not there yet. There's a few places you can buy it, but I'm hoping that's something else that kind of gets out there, just out of personal interest.
And let's talk about U.S. aid. Should we see any impact on that? Any changes?
Aid around the world has been declining. U.S. assistance has been declining, but we've been very fortunate here in Armenia that we've held pretty stable in terms of our assistance figures. We will be looking to see if we can increase to be responsive to the needs of the new government. We are trying to be very quick to provide some immediate, maybe small, but immediate assistance to help in some areas with this political transition. But I don't have any numbers that I can announce right now.
Any trends, other trends we should see in this area, whether it's to government or civil society, would that change?
No, I think we're re-looking certainly on the areas we can work. I think the change in political will has maybe opened up some new opportunities that were not there before. But those are things that we'll have a conversation with the government, we'll have a conversation with civil society, and see where we can jointly make an impact that as it gives of mutual benefit, but certainly to the benefit of Armenia's development.
Okay. And my last question is, it's always interesting to understand where U.S. embassies gather information and form conclusions. What is that process like for you? Who do you talk to? What do you read to understand the changes in the society, what's happening, and form those conclusions?
It's one of the funnest parts of the job is going out and meeting people. And very fortunate that here in Armenia we can meet with everyone. Those in government, those out of government, civil society across a wide spectrum. People that agree with us and strongly disagree with us. And that's really how we try to get, and that's really the value we have. We certainly read local media and read a wide range, but you can also do that in Washington. So diplomats are really paid to do things that people in Washington can't do, and that is getting out and talking. And I think the U.S. Embassy has a fairly good reputation of doing that, and it's been one of the things I've enjoyed the most since I've been here.
Well, thank you very much for speaking with us today, and thank you for watching.